everybody, and thank you for joining us for this week's Diving Deeper. I'm here with Pastor Dave. And Pastor Dave, today you had a very interesting sermon that you shared with us about having a contagious attitude or one of hope. And listening to it, I was curious, focusing on an attitude of hopefulness or hope in general. I was wondering, why is that so important to you? Did you feel compelled to share that with us today?
Sure. I have always felt myself, Ernie, as a man of hope, and that's kind of a meta theme for my life, and maybe I contrast that a little bit with all the things we have either read or hear about having a positive attitude. I believe in having a positive attitude, but often we think that, well, a positive attitude is something that you have to gin up yourself. You've got to crank up yourself, put on the smiley face, put on a happy face, get through whatever stuff you're dealing with today, the bad boss, the tough customers, the things in the back of your mind you're worried about, getting the bills paid and getting all the errands run and so on. I found for myself that it's better to lean into God's hope and God's hopefulness for us, and to let that be the theological, the spiritual emotion, if you will, that can fill us and can help to lead us in life. And the theme of hope, runs all the way through the Bible. I mean, it's a significant theme, and it's one of the important ways that God works in the world and works in the lives of God's people, to help them to look ahead, to help them through those hard times, because it's really grounded saying our hope is not in what we can do and can we be happy even when life is so awful around us, but it's grounded in what God can do, and in our sense of trust in God's faithfulness, that God has our best interests at hand, and that God will give us a hope that is a sound hope, a solid hope. You think of hope as like, well, is that a real thing? But I think in God it is a real thing. It is a solid thing.
That's very true. And I think one of the nice things about this service or sermon following where it did is that, we're here at the beginning of July, at the midway point of the year, and I think people kind of peter out, a little bit and need that recharging. And so it was really exciting and good to hear this sermon, because I think it points us back to what you're saying, to lean into God as that resource for hope, and recharge our batteries that way, as opposed to depending on ourselves, finding a way to get hopeful again or find that rejuvenation. And that leads me to my next question for you, which is, you kind of sprinkled it in there about contagious and making it a contagious attitude. And so how do you think that translates to, or how is it beneficial to our everyday lives, or even our lives within the church family?
I think of it a little bit from the standpoint of the image of being, we talk about social media influencers, people who are influencers. The reality is we're all influencers.
True.
Yeah, we all carry that within us, and we may not be as cognizant of that. We may not always be aware of what influence we are having, but we are having an influence in the world around us, and so we all have something to share and spread. Now, we learned that in the most negative, painful way possible during the pandemic.
Sure.
We were terrified of what people were spreading to us or what we might spread, and I remember having a scare or two when I was with a member of my family who realized they'd been exposed to COVID, and I had to come back home and be in lockdown mode, and I did the worst job possible of staying in my room. My wife was not happy with me, and I didn't behave as well as I should have. So this thing about you could be contagious, let's think of that in a positive way, about what we have in our faith that is worth spreading. What do we have in our faith that God needs us to spread and to be contagious? And Paul talks at the end of his letter in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 about faith, hope, and love. Those are three things that are great to spread in the world. But I think hopefulness is needed more than ever. Because the world is a tough place right now.
Sure.
We've got warfare going on in Ukraine. We've got political divisiveness, in just extreme ways. ways. And I think our sense of cynicism and often hopelessness, or the sense of helplessness about what the future will be, pops up all the time. And so if we can help to spread a sense of hopefulness about what God is able to do and how God is able to work in our lives because of how much God cares for us, that's a gift to give to the world around us and to share and to spread.
Very much so. And I think it's funny that you brought in the pandemic into it, because there is, I think it got lost during the pandemic, or even just in general, that words like contagious or even infectious have a negative connotation.
Right.
But at the same time, there are positive elements or a positive perspective to that of,
Yes.
Joy is infectious.
Yes.
Hope is infectious. Both are contagious. And those are, like you just said, very good things to spread, not only here in our church family, but also in your personal lives with your family, your coworkers, your neighbors. So, like I said, I really enjoyed today's message, and I think it came at the right time. And I hope all of you enjoyed it as well. We enjoy talking to you every Sunday, and we hope you have a good week, and we'll see you next Sunday. Thanks so much.